Good evening, everybody. This is KC Reginald Jr.
It's your man J-Dub, Justin Waters in the building.
This is Jay Switch, Joe Switcher in the house.
Welcome to UnderDawg Sportz. Welcome to the show, everybody. We have a lot to cover. I want to jump right into this with the biggest news of the day, in my opinion, and maybe not in a lot of people's opinion, but definitely in my opinion, was the loss of Tavaris Jackson, former quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks and also the Minnesota Vikings. He was in a one-car accident today, and he's left us from this planet. I think that's like the biggest news in football today for me.
I agree with you with that because he was a solid backup. He did have 1 year he started right before when Pete Carroll first got to Seattle. It was a hard transition for him because the fact of the matter is he was a Mike Holmgren guy. Pete Carroll just got there. Of course, Pete Carroll was getting all his guys and transitioning from those Super Bowl years with Holmgren. But solid NFL guy at best. Definitely a bad loss, especially he was a coach at Alabama A&M where he would actually play this college football after his 2 years at Arkansas.
Yeah, tough loss. It just makes you realize how fragile life is. You hear one day and you're gone the next. But it's tough pill to swallow that he's not here anymore. And I know he was an assistant coach, I think, at Tennessee State. I think that's where he was. And make an impact there. But, just I send my love and condolences and prayers to all his family and his friends.
Indeed.
Rest in peace, Tavaris Jackson. To me, you talk about the Seattle year that he was a starter. He also had a year in Minnesota where he ended up being a starter. He ended up 8-4 that year. So Tavaris, he was definitely a solid backup. I just felt like he never really got a shot to be a guy in the league, but he was definitely a solid backup. Huge loss to the NFL family. Huge loss to his family. The only saving grace is it was a single car accident, and he is the only fatality out of that accident. But tragic loss for the NFL today. Tragic loss for the world. Rest in peace, Mr. Jackson, and our prayers are with your family.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Salute.
All righty. In more positive news today, Christian McCaffrey got paid yesterday. 4-year extension, $64 million. Before we go deep into this, I do want to say, didn't Le'Veon Bell get offered $15 million here 2 years ago?
He did.
And walked away from it?
Played. Yep, he played himself.
So why isn't running back money moving higher than this? Because he's clearly the most utilized back in football and valuable because he's so heavily utilized and he's so good out of the backfield, both catching and running the ball. Why is this position salary not escalating the way Le'Veon Bell thought it should have 2 years ago?
Actually, Joe, go ahead. Now I'll chime in.
Well, I guess my thought on McCaffrey is this: we know that the Panthers are rebuilding right now. They got rid of basically of their coach, the entire team, and everything. So obviously McCaffrey is the face of the franchise now. So and we saw what kind of numbers he put up last year, and with him being the face of the franchise now, Panthers wanted to make sure they wanted to lock him up and let him know that he's pretty much the man now as they're rebuilding. So that's kind of how I see it. He's the face of the franchise, and so they want to pay him like the face of the franchise.
My thing is with McCaffrey, this is another. When me and Reg went into several weeks ago, another value to the team situation like Dak in Dallas. Although Dak is not he's a quarterback, not a running back. The biggest thing to answer Reg's question, why McCaffrey probably should have didn't get paid as much. One huge factor is your running back window is not that long. Carolina is known for running down their running back. They keep them. Going to D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, even going back to Sherman from Michigan. Yes. The guy played in Washington, Stephen Davis.
Oh, Stephen Davis, yeah.
Going that, even they draft pick with Tim Batuka. Yes, I'm saying my age. That was a long time ago. But they keep their running backs, but I think they know that Christian McCaffrey, the way they're playing him, specifically now that they don't have Cam Newton, we don't know the chemistry, how Teddy and Sherman are going to be like, but they know one thing. If Teddy doesn't become, if he's more game manager than game changer, then you know that ball's going to be in Christian McCaffrey's hands. So pay him $15 million or so, let him sign off on it, and probably give him. He probably has some more incentives in the back end that we don't know about. To pay him that because he probably won't be able to get paid anymore. Because 5 years from now, at the way Christian McCaffrey is going, he won't be in the league.
Oh, they're running him into the ground.
Right. You know what he reminds me of? Reggie, you
Jamal Charles.
Jamal Charles.
Yeah, Jamal Charles. So I'm a first touch. Joel, I don't really agree that they believe that they're rebuilding this year, because Teddy Bridgewater is not someone you bring in to rebuild. You already have the piece in Christian McCaffrey. I think they liked Bridgewater's availability, his I guess health, relatively healthy. He's coming off a year where he did not finish the season having a surgery. And they like his track record as a winning quarterback. Like, he's done that his whole career back in Minnesota and babysitting for Drew Brees last year. I don't think they expect to rebuild. And on Justin's side, so you feel like that he got paid the most he could based off of his, I guess, versatility and availability so far?
That would be it, because here's the thing. Do you pay him $20 million? But again, I'm telling you this right now, a lot of teams have taken the formula of seeing what they did with Todd Gurley, and even before Todd, a year before with Devontae Freeman. You don't want to overpay these dudes or put them in too much contract limbo, because if they get hurt, unlike a quarterback that could probably rehab after some years, a wide receiver that, same thing. A running back, if it's a knee injury, calf injury, that may be it for their career. Todd Gurley, let's be honest with you.
Yeah.
We'll never see another 1,500-yard season by Todd again. I don't see it coming unless they have one hell of a line.
Yeah.
But I don't see it with Todd.
No.
So pay him the max you think a running back should get paid, which he's right there above Zeke, but he's not really too far away from him. But I have a bigger question for both of y'all. Alvin Kamara commented, said, wow, he got his money. He found out while playing Call of Duty at home. Well, obviously, these guys aren't really doing anything. There's no off-season. But he found out about playing Call of Duty, and they was like, so what you think about that? And Alvin was like, well, congratulations, Christian, get your money. Let me call my agent. Does this now set the bar for Kamara and then also Saquon Barkley coming up soon? Or should this be around the same app?
So that I really go back to what I said. If this is the scale for premier running back, like, it hasn't moved in 2 years. And I could see why the labor deal was not favored by a lot of players. Like, if the scale only moved $1 million in 2 years for that position, for the premier guy, like the thousand guy, I guess if this is the ceiling, then the running back position got hosed.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just think the window is
This
Go ahead.
This is like what happened to inflation. Like, I think he's more valuable than $16 million to the Panthers. I think he's a $20 million guy for them. I think he may have taken a pay cut because he wants to stay there, maybe. I think he could have got more elsewhere.
I really think every time these guys take a pay cut like that, there has to be some money on the back end that they're receiving that we don't know about. For example, it came out, and even though this is the NBA, they talked about Chris Bosh when he first retired, that he was getting extra money from a bunch of different endorsements in Toronto that were all correlated with the Raptors. I'll tell you another one. The Steelers, the reason why they re-upped the contract with Ben so much, but then Ben was always taking these franchise restructures, is because he was getting paid by a lot of the businesses that were correlated with the Steelers, including the hospital, where they're giving a hospital and giving a quarterback money, which is stupid, but that's what happened. I wouldn't be surprised if Christian McCaffrey somehow on the back and getting some cash from them.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be a shock.
Joe?
Yeah. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, you're talking about the ceiling, and making $20 million. I mean, $20 million a year. I mean, I guess with Kamara, going to Kamara, I guess does he feel like he's a better running back than McCaffrey?
He's not as valuable.
He might.
He's not, but he feels he is.
Yeah,
he feels he's one of the top 3 running backs in the league. He's not.
He's not as valuable.
Because I was surprised that when he made that reaction about call my agent. McCaffrey got paid, so I need to get paid like him, or just as much as as McCaffrey.
I mean, honestly, I'd understand Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, but not.
I can understand him, but here's the biggest problem with both of them: they're both injured.
Injuries, right? So here's my thing: if $16 million is the ceiling, I don't insult McCaffrey by paying these guys $15 million. I mean, $14 million should be their cap now, and that's how I feel about it. And this is why I think McCaffrey kind of screwed over the running back position. He should have got his worth. He should have told them, pay me 20, because those guys can only make 14 now, because they're not 1,000-yard receivers. They're not the number one receiver for this team last year, for their teams last year. They're not the number one rusher for their team last year. 287 rushes, 1,387 yards, 116 receptions for a running back. So now these guys can't make 14 million is their cap now. And I think he hosed over the rest of the running backs by taking this deal. That's how I feel about it.
I agree with you, because the fact of the matter, here's the thing. I only think it holds right now Saquon. For Leonard Fournette, no. Alvin Kamara, here's my issue when he said that. Your first 2 years in the league, you were the scat back to Mark Ingram being the power back. Last year, you became the everything when Mark Ingram went to Baltimore, and you couldn't stay healthy. So why are we going to pay you $15 million if technically you have not had a season by yourself that you've proven that you are the man? So when he said that and I heard it, I was like, nah, I don't think he's that guy. Now going to Saquon Barkley, he had an injury season, but, I mean, he didn't have a line. And I don't know what to expect out of New York. I mean, he's pretty much everything but throwing the ball in New York. I can see him going for it, but, again, it still comes down to health. If Saquon next year stays healthy and busts the 1,400 or 1,500 and gets maybe about, even if he gets 500 or 600 receiving yards versus 1,000, I would probably say, okay, then he could go to the drawing board and say, hey, I should get paid more than Christian McCaffrey. Again, I agree with you, Reg. I think Mr. McCaffrey has now set the precedent label what Le'Veon tried to do, and it didn't work. It backfired for Le'Veon when he held out and then went to another team that lowballed him. for any running back coming into the league now, this is the max you're going to get. Because if your all-world running back can't get X, Y, and Z, then no one else will. Yeah. So I think he's stuck right there.
You good, Joe?
Yeah.
All righty. Well, Christian McCaffrey got paid. I think the rest of those running backs are probably not happy with him because he set the bar where Le'Veon wanted it 2 years ago. Obviously, no inflation in that position. Other NFL news, Justin labels this one the San Diego Raiders, and I'm going to put question marks behind that one, as the stadium's construction in Las Vegas has taken a COVID-19 hit.
So there has been 3 reports out of Las Vegas that the stadium crews have taken a pause on work on a ginormous stadium. I seen it because my wife and I were at the Luxor Hotel back Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day weekend last year and seen it. It's massive. But they've had some unfortunate COVID-19 situation. And with that being said, it's halted everything. Now to the point they're already behind in the first place even before COVID. They were having more issues, but now they're talking about with all this happening, should they go ahead and just maybe if the season starts on time, there's a possibility the Raiders won't be in that stadium, so they may have to be in another city. Now those rumors have been either Salt Lake City, San Diego, or sharing with the Cardinals in Phoenix. I would say do the Oakland people, let them have a couple games, extra games in Oakland. I mean, remember, they didn't do anything to lose that team. But I would say do that, but, you never know how the NFL will go.
Yeah, that's politics there. I think that Oakland's mayor and that political tirade that happened about them leaving, I think that their egos are getting in the way of them playing those games in Oakland. I could see games at Qualcomm in San Diego. I can see that. I do not like the idea at all of sharing anything with the Cardinals. Why, when you have all these empty stadiums where you can get revenue from? I don't like that at all. That's too much of an inconvenience. Then you got to alter the schedule to make sure the teams don't play at the same time at home. No, that's just too much. So I like Qualcomm in San Diego if they need an emergency home.
I got a better idea. The Alamo Dome, San Antonio.
Yeah, that's a good spot. The Saints have been there before.
Yeah. But it's, at least it's close to Oakland and San Diego. All right. Yeah. At least it's close to Oakland and San Diego, closer to Oakland and San Diego. Let their fans, forget the politics. Let your fans find a way to enjoy a couple more Raiders games in California as a whole team. I do want to throw a little bit of a curveball today because I am reacting to something I saw on NFL Network. Brian Bellick is saying that Cam Newton may have to wait to the preseason on an injury to get a job. How low is Cam Newton fallen and why? I know there's a possibility that he may not be 100%, but Cam Newton is a replacement quarterback.
Joe, go first, and I got you.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of frustrating to see how far Cam Newton has fallen. I mean, he's gotten injured, and he's gonna take some time for him to bounce back. But I guess, the highest of his was when he went to the Super Bowl a few years ago, and it's almost like it just hasn't been the same for him since. It's kind of unfair. People have kind of been giving him flack for pretty much his whole career, but now, when he got to his point, almost it might be the lowest of lows. I'll go back up, and he may not even get a chance to even play at all this year or get signed. It's frustrating, just as a fan, as a football fan.
Can I ask a question before you go, Justin?
Go for it.
Cam Newton or whoever the hell the quarterback is for the Jets right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, is that Darnold?
I guess, yeah. Seriously. Sam Darnold is a starting quarterback and the franchise of the New York Jets, and Cam Newton can't find a job.
Right.
Go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say this. There's two factors with Cam Newton that we've actually seen one already, and it's the guy that took over Cam Newton's spot, Teddy Bridgewater. When you are successful and all of a sudden you have an injury, I'll be realistic with you. The African American quarterbacks, and I hate to call it a race, it seems like they have to go back to prove themselves all over again. Versus where a lot of these other guys, like for example, if Kirk Cousins gets hurt, and let's say he breaks his I'll take another step further.
Don't do Kirk Cousins because he's like the Robin Hood of bad quarterbacks. He steals from the rich and becomes the. I mean, he still
I'm gonna use a better example, Reg. I'm gonna use your former team. Your former team got rid of Alex Smith. How long did it take Alex Smith to find another job? They traded him, and he automatically got a re-sign and an extension on his contract. And we didn't even know if this dude was ready to come back, and he still hasn't been ready to come back. And he still basically has an open door as far as the owner's eyes is concerned to have a quarterback battle with Dwayne Haskins, who's their first-round pick from last year. Cam seems like he's in a war of fighting, and I don't understand why. And I think really what's happening to him is all the little attitude perks and stuff he had back in the days is coming back to haunt him, unfortunately. And it's not fair to him. I mean, he was young having, the pouting and all that stuff, but that doesn't take away from his ability.
So I want to touch two things I don't go for Alex. Alex was coming off his career year, which he was in the running for MVP. Like, he was the highest rated passer that year when the Chiefs traded him to be the starting quarterback for the Redskins. He wasn't hurt when he was traded. He got hurt during that season. So that contract was a deserved contract. He balled in Kansas City. The kid is just better. At least his last season he balled. The other thing is the problem that I have with this is now I have to battle my fandom versus my heritage, because now I want Patrick Mahomes not to leave $1 on the table. Because if you can be this high 5 years ago and be in the preseason being told that you got to wait for somebody to get hurt to get a job, now I'm thinking, dude, get paid, break the bank, and forget everybody else, because this is a dog-eat-dog world. Cam Newton can't get a job. That's asinine.
Well, look at both Cam and Jameis. Either of them can get a job.
Well, see, it's different. It's different with Jameis. He hasn't been an MVP. He hasn't had any playoff success. He did not appear in a Super Bowl. He didn't lead his team to a Super Bowl game. But
here's the thing. It's a what have you done for me lately league. And the only thing we've seen Cam is injuries. Remember, you got to look at a reversal.
Joe Flacco was a starting quarterback last year. Joe Flacco.
Right. And that's why I have a problem. These coaches and these players will get the company guy versus the talent. I mean, you got to fight. Cam's going to have to fight for a spot, which is crazy. I mean, why should a guy that's a former MVP took this team to a Super Bowl single-handedly with no receivers, no fluke plays, no overblown plays, Jacoby Jones with that dumbass center touchdown to make them get to the playoffs? But other than that, the Ravens shouldn't have been in the Super Bowl. But stuff like that, he legitimately got there. But because Cam is opinionated, Cam is kind of it all comes down to being the company guy again. This is why I said, like, Jerry's going to work something out with Dak Prescott, because he's a yes man. Cam is not. Cam is the essential of hip hop. Keep it real. So, he's that Allen Iverson type guy. He does his own thing on his own flag, and a lot of people don't like that. So they're going to force him to go ahead and work his ass off to get back to a team.
So here's my biggest dilemma, and I'm gonna throw the Bengals out here, and this is what I'm going to say. I don't know if anybody can promise anyone in the world that Joe Burrow is not Ryan Leaf.
Correct.
So why the hell is Cam Newton unavailable? I mean, why is he still a
That's
free
a great
agent?
question.
Like, you can't. Cam Newton, if he's healthy, is still a dynamic passer, still a dynamic athlete. If you give him talent, if he got to play a season with A.J. Green, he might be in the damn AFC Championship game again. Because that's the last time he actually had a receiver, Steve Smith. He was in the NFC Championship game and in a Super Bowl. They didn't win it, but they got there. The last time he actually had a top-notch receiver. This dude is on the sideline looking for a job, and the Bungles won't pick him up. The Chargers want to go with Tyrod Taylor. The Bears got Nick Folk and Mitchell Trubisky. Come on.
You're saying it wrong. Hold up, you're saying it wrong. The Chicago Bears got $40 million in two quarterbacks that ain't worth a damn. That's what you should be saying. Like $40 million in two quarterbacks.
The Buffalo Bills got Josh Allen.
But again, it comes down to: do you want to pay these guys?
Do you want to win?
And the biggest thing I'm saying is with Cam Newton is Cam is not being the company. Come on, Reg, you know better. If we ain't the company guys, if we ain't saying the right thing, do the right thing. Because right now, if I was Jerry Jones, I'd take Cam. If Cam say, well, I call Cam, you gonna play for that 19? Yeah. But, go ahead, Dak. Go ahead. Take your talents to Miami or whomever.
But you can't do that because nobody else wants that. If no one wants Cam, nobody wants Dak.
Somebody was stupid enough to pay Dak. I'm just telling you that right now.
Nobody wants Cam, so you're telling me Dak is more valuable than Cam?
Obviously to the Cowboys.
Yeah, but
that's
Cowboys, Jerry Jones. I mean, what I'm saying is, if he signs Cam off of free agency, he's going to be stuck with Dak too, and then he's going to have a payroll problem because Dak ain't going no one's going to pay him $28 million.
True. I will say this though, their team in New England, I think they're sitting, and I think once the smoke clears in their draft list, hear me out on this one. You call me crazy. I guarantee you this: New England will go ahead and start drafting receivers out the ass. The same thing they didn't do for Tom Brady, they'll do it. And once that's over, give it about a week or two, I guarantee you Cam Newton, if not Cam already signed with the team, it'll be Jameis. Yeah. One of those two guys will be in New England.
I think it'll be Jameis over Cam. Now.
Maybe. But I guarantee you one of those dudes are going to be up here because the fact of the matter is Bill Belichick is just sitting there. Just like he did with the whole Raiders fiasco with AB. He'll sit and wait. And once this shit explodes, he's like, all right, let me make a phone call. He wanted to come here anyway. And we ain't got to pay him as much. Cool. Yeah. We got him for dirt. Cam will be the same way. Cam, look, we'll give you $15 million, and then we'll give you, if you do well, then we'll go ahead and match you out for the second season. We'll give you a high grade there. You will take it or leave it. Of course you're going to take it. Cam Newton's going with one of the greatest coaches in all time, and you will probably give him weapons. Yeah, I'm going to take it in a heartbeat. I think that's what they're doing.
Who the hell is the Jaguars quarterback now? Gardner Minshew? Come on, dude.
Ask yourself a bigger question. You and Joel, ask yourself a bigger question. Who is running the Jaguars right now? The owner does not care about the Jaguars. The owner just wanted to have an NFL team. Khan owns two Major League Soccer teams. He ain't worrying about the Jags. So whoever's running the Jags right now, they're running it. That's why they brought back whatever the coach's name is. That's why they only fired Coughlin because of the PR nightmare. But other than that, Coughlin would have probably still been there.
I'm just saying, Cam Newton doesn't have a job, and that's the quarterback situation in Jacksonville.
I still go back to I made a suggestion a few weeks ago. It sounded outrageous, but to me it sounds legit. If he went to the Bungles, as KC calls them, because they are the Bungles, he would play right away. He would start right away. You know, and like you also mentioned, Casey, you know, we don't know if Joe Burrow is going to be a superstar or a bust. I would take a chance on Cam Newton because we know he would start right away, even if the Bengals end up drafting Joe Burrow. If the Bengals did get Cam Newton, we know he'd probably start right away.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I do want to say this. If you check Cam's IG, he's showing himself working out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything he's showing since he's been cut is nothing but him working out in his yard, in his house, in his gym, running stairs, running his driveway, running the neighborhood. To me, for a guy like that had no drug issues or nothing crazy, no Josh Gordon type craziness, for him to have to do that, that's basically him having to sell himself. I'll be real with you. That makes me feel that he knows that the NFL has something against him, and he is trying to push a GM to play him. That sucks because he hasn't done anything detrimental to the NFL except for the female reporter comment, which he lost his endorsement for that, whatever. It sucks that this young man is having to go through that. Cam is just now 30. Come on now, he ain't. You know what I mean? He's at his prime.
Still fairly young. Yeah.
He could get healthy. That's not an issue. You give him a line. You give him some receivers. My man could be back to being the best quarterback in the league right now. He could be up there with talking about him, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun, well, pre-Texans straight Deshaun. Those guys. He's the precedent for those guys.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He could be up there, but
that's why I'm pissed.
They're screwing him over.
That's why I'm pissed. The last thing I'll add is Ryan Tannehill is making like $27 million a year as the starter, and Cam Newton doesn't have a job. The NFL draft is going to be from Roger Goodell's basement, is where he's going to announce the picks. I know we're desperate for sports. Are we desperate enough to literally be tuned in to somebody's basement as they announce names?
Reg, Joe, I'll let you go first on this one. I'll tell you how I feel.
Okay. What choice do we have? I guess you he can't. I guess he doesn't have a home office, or his basement. That's just funny, but our officers are just limited right now. Everything's just shut down. You didn't know the place that he could do it. I guess maybe if he went to his actual office, NFL office, nobody's gonna be there. Maybe he could do it there, but yeah, we have limited resources right now because of what's going on right now. So that's just the bottom line.
Can I say this real quick? So last Sunday was Easter. Last Sunday you had preachers, from regular preachers, local here, like Joe, we watched Pastor Cosby at Wheeler, to all the way to the Pope in churches, broadcasting online to their people. So you mean to tell me that you can't broadcast from the NFL office and or even Madison Square Garden or something, because all they got to do is build a set and then leave. And basically somebody can work remotely way up far and put the lights and the screen and all that. Make it feel like, because Roger Goodell probably has a mansion. He's getting paid, of course, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't have just to look at him, he's very conservative. Doesn't have the looks or the glamour to make it feel like it would be the NFL. I don't want this dude to go ahead and it be his flat screen where it'll make the announcement, where it's one flat screen. No, I want like 50 flat screens to show this guy and their talent and everything. Whoever the get draft pick may be. And it's kind of like, when he said his basement, I was like, hopefully he's saying he's joking, ha, ha, ha. But it didn't seem like it. It just seemed like, this is what you doing, bro? That's it? The basement? Really? Okay. All right, you suck. With that being said, we want football back. If this was like a one-off where like Vegas had an issue and they couldn't do anything else last minute, then okay. But everything dealing with sports right now, presentation-wise, I want back. So if I sound like I'm caught in my feelings, no disrespect, guys, I'm going to be caught in my feelings because I want to see it. in a different way that most cats think, that I wanted just as it was last year. So, let's just go from there with that.
Yeah. Listen, I know the dude's probably got a basement is probably as big as my house. Okay, like he makes at least $30 million a year. So I know it's got to be a dynamic, at least in dimensions wise, basement, and they could probably do a whole set but I just don't want him to be sitting in a damn couch looking like Uncle Roger, and doing the draft that way. Like Joe said, it's kind of like, okay, we don't have a lot of choices now, but you better build a set. Give me something. Like, this is all we got until we get back to some form of normalcy. So give me a show, please. At least entertain me from your basement. That sounds kind of bad.
Exactly.
or even like the NFL Film Studio. I think it's in Secaucus, New Jersey. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, like Justin mentioned, have something set up. Doing for the NFL Films office, film studio there. I mean, to me, if you have it somewhere right there, it'll feel more like an NFL draft than him doing it in his home office or in his basement.
Hell, I got one better for you. The NFL, the NFL.com or NFL Network Studios are in New York. That's where they shoot that Good Morning NFL every day. They're in they're in Times Square. Okay, you can't enter Times Square. I get that. You can't have the players come. You get that. But you can have it there because they always have the screens and the virtual stuff. Why don't they just do that? It just seems weird that they're just like kind of settling. Like, yeah, we're just going to do it here. And, well, yeah. It's Roger's crib, and we all good. Let's go ahead and have a drink to Roger's crib. I don't want to see his house. I don't give a damn about the commissioner. The people will.
I mean,
I care about you, Reg, and Joel's house more than I care about the NFL commissioner. We know you're getting paid for a stupid amount of money for nothing. Damn that.
He getting paid a lot of money to play politics. That's what he's getting paid a lot of money. He's the highest paid politician in America right now.
Facts.
And the saddest news of the day comes from the week so far, outside of the passing of Tavaris Jackson. The second saddest news of the week has been the bankruptcy filed by the XFL. Justin and I kind of talked about this yesterday on Skype. I don't know if it's going to be the XFL, but networks like FS1 got ratings on Saturday that they've never gotten before outside of UFC. Like, those networks see that there is a market. It may not be the NFL market, but if your ratings are up 100 times what they would normally be for spring football, I think that it may not be the XFL, but I think that someone can fill this void, and Justin has a name. But to the league itself, I'm really sad this happened. This league had a lot of potential. A lot of their players are being signed, not necessarily to be immediate contributors, but a chance to make rosters. Who knows what's going to happen in Carolina with the Bridgewater and Walker thing, because he's got history with Coach. So who knows? They might end up with a starting quarterback. Yeah, they might end up with a starting quarterback out of this. I think that league had a shot, a legitimate shot. I think they should have did away with the Bob Stoops of the world and get some legitimate football coaches, like use some of these black coaches that aren't getting NFL head coaching jobs, and let them try it out. I think that league had potential, and it is very sad to see it go.
All right, Joe, then I'm going to throw a name out there that people may like.
Yeah, it was very sad. This COVID thing, it seems like it's ruined everybody. It's amazing how this pandemic has just played out. But it opened strong, and they kept going, and then oh my God, it was over. I guess I wasn't really expecting them to they went bankrupt and they stopped everything. I wasn't expecting bankruptcy to happen, but yeah, you said come up with somebody to maybe pick this up. Yeah, I was thinking, Mark Cuban might be somebody.
That's a good name.
I don't know. I don't know if he'll be interested in that or somebody you mentioned a minute ago who seems to have owns everything, Justin, the Jazz owner. I don't know if he want to go that route and pick this stuff as well.
Nah.
So Justin has one. Go ahead.
So
okay.
Because the NFL is basically on relationships building right now, Joe, I'm going to ask you a question. Who is the one who arranged the NFL halftime show?
Say it one more time.
Who's the guy who was the organization that helped run the NFL halftime show?
For the Super Bowl this past year.
Wow. Brain fart.
No. I'll give you another question. Don't say nothing because you already know the answer. Who was the guy who got Kaepernick his tryout last year?
Jay-Z.
Bingo. So, Jay-Z is one of two billionaires in the culture. There's only him and Puff. But I think Puff right now is a little – I don't think the owners will allow Puff to play at their table. But think about it. If Jay-Z buys the XFL, turns it around to a winning organization, which it already had at Custom. Because I don't think Vince McMahon can do it. He's losing too much money between the WWE and now the XFL. I think he's right now counting his penny. But if you get somebody like Hove to come in, to now you got the marketing. You see what he did with as much as they wanted to make controversy of the halftime show, it really wasn't that serious. But as much as they've been doing, if you bring in somebody like Hove to guide this XFL thing, then partner with the NFL like they're doing right now, pretty much everything marketing-wise is spearheaded by Rock Nation, I think that would be a win. And I think that will boost XFL without changing it, because I don't think he will change it. But also that have that partnership with the NFL where basically the XFL, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, would be the minor league system for the NFL. So the guys that the so-called experts passed on, your Kurt Warners and your whomever else of the world, they go to XFL, they ball out. They go to NFL, they ball out. Now you got the next superstar. Right. How? You got a guy like Jay-Z that knows what the hell he does. You're talking about, remember, you got to look at it like this. You got a guy that came from becoming a drug dealer to being a billionaire. I mean, I'm just saying, they're going to look at this like, yeah, well, you know what the hell he's talking about. He ain't get his money just because of Beyonce. He did it for a reason.
Right. It would be nice. Like I told you in Skype, it'd be nice. It would be, like I told you in Skype again, it would be nice if we had football players that could partner with him in the ownership, but they don't make that kind of money, and the guys that do, I mean, it would be great if you can get a Peyton Manning to invest. That'd give you
maybe
a lot of
the team
give you a lot of legitimacy for your league. I think I'm with you. I like the idea. I don't know how you do it because he is so intertwined with the NFL now, unless the NFL signs off on actually making this a feeder league. Because he's making a lot of money from the NFL. So I don't see him severing that relationship to spend money in the XFL.
I have one more suggestion. It's kind of random, but it seemed like it's another African American, but it seems like everything he touches seems to be turned to gold lately. And that's Shaq.
Yeah, I can see that, but for some reason I see Shaq wanting to own an NBA team before he goes to the other one. But dude, a couple nights ago, my wife and I were watching that Shaq reality show. I mean, you're right. Between the Papa John's, the General, I didn't know he owned part of. I forgot the ink company. Hell, we use it in our printers at work.
Was it HP?
He's right now makes more endorsement money The only person who's making more endorsement money from you as a basketball player is LeBron. Shaq's been retired for now going on 10 years. And he's making more money than active players. That means Harden, Durant, Irving. The only person who's not making more money than is LeBron. LeBron is active. You see him every day. Shaq, you only see him, twice a week?
You see him on TNT.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You see him on TNT.
You only see him, right, but then once the season's over, you don't see Shaq. I mean, you just see him in the commercials. He owns gold. He also owns Gold Bond. I think that was the other one, the lotion. I mean, even though he looked ashy in his own lotion commercial, he owns that. I'm like, oh, man, this Kelly. I can see him. I can see Jay being like the overall, or him partnering with Shaq. I could see Shaq owning a team in the XFL. I could see like Dion owning a team. I could see a bunch of these ex-NFL players that have the money owning the team, but just maybe not, or being key investors in it in the XFL. I think Vince spearheaded it, but I honestly don't see Vince. If this falls flat and COVID ends and Vince can't pick up that ball, can't pick it up no more, I honestly see, and I think that's why he filed for bankruptcy for. I think he's losing too much money on both his investors with the WWE and the XFL. I think it's just too much for him.
But you know what disappoints me there is I talked about the ratings. Like, you should have went to FS1 and told them you could be the exclusive network of the XFL. And,
I agree.
And give me some money for that, though. Pay me for that. Sell your TV rights. Don't buy your TV time anymore. Like, I have literally made your network noticeable on weekends because nobody's been watching this mess. So now you pay me a TV deal and you can be the home of the XFL. I'm not going to share with NBC and none of that. You can do a game on Fox and you can do FS1. You can have the league. And this way, now Vince has money coming in TV, not just in ads. You could have nobody expects this to last forever. Why wasn't he negotiating TV deals?
I agree. And I think what he was trying to do, I think this first year, he was trying to figure out what his cash cow is. But the minute Vince McMahon signed the WWE to Fox, he should have threw the XFL in as a bonus. Like, look, if you want my Fox thing, then you got to take this XFL thing. Because both of these is going to make money. He needed to sell that instead of the reversals. Because if it really came down to it, if he was smart now looking back at it, I would have the XFL and the WWE on ESPN. And mind you, they're owned by Disney. So now Disney would have had you on ESPN. They would have had you on ABC. You would have been on every ESPN network channel they could offer, ESPN 1 through 900, not to mention, all the other channels they had. It would have worked. Hell, they would have probably made, if they have an MMA deal, they probably would have did a WWE deal and took the network and partnered with ESPN. He could have made money on that. And I think he bet too much on himself, not enough on his brand. Maybe because they gave him hell from the first time this went, which he completely, that was wrestling with helmets. Let's just be honest. But he could have did something. This is the thing I was like, yo, he dropped the ball. He could really pick this up and run with it. It's not dead. It's just dead now because of COVID, but it can really roll with this.
Joe, what you got?
I don't think the XFL was done either. I think, the XFL came back strong. They learned from what happened the first time, and as we've been discussing these last few minutes, if Vince McMahon don't want to, fool with this XFL anymore, I do think somebody's gonna pick it up.
Bro, it ain't even got to be XFL. Like if Vince don't want to say, if he don't want the name, whole football league. Like, for real.
Yeah. And we've seen all these guys who've been signed NFL teams, so obviously what they did this year was working. So I hope they don't give up on the XFL again.
Now, as far as the networks was concerned, the reason I said a FS1 because ESPN gets their numbers, FS1 doesn't. Like,
true.
if you can, and I think he can. Like, he's the ultimate salesman. He could have sold to Fox. FS1 and Fox are the premier networks for the XFL, period. But I need $20 million a year for it. Because I know I'm going to bring you at least that much. I know that you're going to get that much more in profit coming from your 20,000 people watching FS1 on Saturday afternoon. I can bring you 600,000. I can bring you 1 million people to your network, and we can build this thing up, especially if I'm able to recruit high school kids to play. Those top prospects, because they want to get paid because mama needs a house now, especially if I have that avenue. Then there's no way in West hell that I don't negotiate. And maybe this is why it took so long. Maybe this is what he was doing and he just didn't get the but to me it's easy to sell this to FS1 and Fox. Because yeah, Fox is getting paid, but FS1 was 20,000 people watching that network. Like they're losing money when it's that small of a fan base. So why not quadruple that amount? Why not get 600,000 people watching, 1 million when you get enough recognition? Like, to me, it makes sense. So it don't have to be XFL, but I will say rest in peace to the XFL 2.0. We're now 0-2 with 0-3 technically if you count the AAF in spring football. I want to move on.
Well, they were still in the AFF. So that was a whole different monster. They were going to shut down because the money all of a sudden became missing.
Yeah. I want to move on because I want to get through this little free agency thing and spend 30 minutes doing the verses. So the only news really as far as free agency and trade so far in the last few days, you threw in the Chiefs stuff. I guess if you're a Texan fan, the bigger news is Brandon Cooks in the kitchen is how Justin labeled this one. You got another chef, I guess. How's he going to work at this offense?
So, go ahead, Joe.
Well, I guess simply he'll be the number one receiver now. I guess he's simply the replacement to DeAndre Hopkins. But it's very good. He's a very talented player. A little injury prone. I know he's had some concussions, but yeah, it's like 14, I think now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 14. So I don't know. Maybe he'll thrive here. He's not Hopkins, but maybe he'll thrive down here in Houston.
So can I make a bigger picture of this?
So talk about the money, aren't you?
Let's make this. So let's go over Bill O'Brien's trade. So you get rid of Clowney, you get rid of D-Hop, but you bring in Kenny Stills, Laramie Tunsil, Brandon Cooks, David Johnson.
Get rid of him.
But here's my issue, and you have a developing quarterback that's about to enter his prime. Here's the problem what I have. You have a running back that's not healthy, but you get rid of a running back that was healthy for actually the first time in his career in Carlos Hyde. I get to Lamar Miller not getting him. That's self-explanatory. But here's the bigger picture. Brandon Cook started his career with Drew Brees and Tom Brady. And the biggest problem, I was trying to figure out why he kept getting traded. The biggest problem is two factors. It wasn't the concussion because the concussion did not happen until later. It was because he couldn't catch in clutch situations. And they even said Tom wanted him gone. So the GOAT, technically, wants you gone. Tom ain't said that about no other receiver I've ever heard of outside of Ocho, and that was because Ocho was a head case. But that scares me. If you can't be successful with Drew and Tom, and you did have successful seasons, and now you're coming in Texas with Deshaun, what does that mean for the team? What does that mean for Deshaun? But you had a guy, D-Hop, who just wanted $3 million more. He wanted to be a top 3 receiver like he should be, because he's top 3 receiver in the league, if not number 1. I don't get this. And you get Brandon Cooks in a second-round pick for a fourth round. So here's my other question. Y'all knew the Rams were over. They're just dumping salaries because the only person that they paid that's doing any damn thing is Aaron Donald. They dumped Todd Gurley like yesterday's news. They were trying to get rid of Brandon Cooks supposedly for months, even they're trying to say them going to trade deadline. And they're supposedly thinking about trying to restructure Jared Goff's contract. So why did you have to give up the second? You don't have a first round, and you have two number twos, and you give up one of them for a guy that y'all know y'all were going to get rid of. I hate going back to the Steelers, but this was the same thing how the Raiders got the Steelers. You know you got to get rid of this dude, so we're not going to give you a number one because you know you got to get rid of him. You know you don't want to pay Cook $19 million. Remember, mind you, in 2 years he's going to get paid he's on the salary cap for $19 million dead money. You got to get rid of him. So, take what you can get. So I didn't get it. But, hey, I'm not the GM. All right, Red.
So, I want to talk about why we traded away the best. And I'm not saying we like I'm a Texan fan. I'm just I have to look at this in the eyes of reality. The best wide receiver in the National Football League for a guy who has not been very good, at least recently. He started off all right. He started off really well. He had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks proven throwing to him. And when he had an average quarterback, Jared Goff, it showed.
Mm-hmm.
Why in the hell do you trade away the best receiver in all of football? I'm trying to pull up his salary right now because Cooks is 12. DeAndre Hopkins is currently making, and he wants more, and deservedly so, but the salary is a wash this year.
Correct.
It's exactly a wash, and DeAndre technically is on the books for 13.5 and 14 over the next 2 years. This is the best receiver in football. He's healthy every year. He's reliable. And you said you traded him to get better or to make your team better. But you didn't. You made your team worse. And he traded away a second-round pick when he got a fourth in David Johnson.
So basically, the David Johnson deal, they just basically got David Johnson now for D-Hop. So basically, that's what the trade. You got really technically David Johnson and Brandon Cooks for D-Hop.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So injury, and let's be honest, Brandon Cooks is kind of like Tyreek Hill, except Tyreek's a better route runner. They catch with their chest and not with their hand. But you can get away with that in Kansas City because you have several weapons. You're not paying Tyreek that money, but you got guys that can catch with their hand. The Texans have now 3 guys that can catch with their chest, not their hand. You have a no hand team.
2 of which have injury problems: Kenny Stills and Will Fuller.
Correct. The best
and your running back got injury problems. Oh wait, all 3 of them have injury problems because Cooks with the concussions. So
the player on your team
match unit
hands is your tight end. It's Phelps. So we're not going to put in the same. Phelps is not in a Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski. Hell, he wouldn't be better than Jesse James if you ask me. He's 6'8" and he can catch suddenly, but you don't give him the ball in the red zone.
Well, they're going to have to now.
Bro, this is a disaster for the Texans. And here's my bigger question for both of y'all. You trade D-Hop because he wants more money, because he wants to be around 20, but you're still paying J.J. Watt the next 2 years, 22.
They can't pay out J.J. Watt.
They could damn sure trade him. They could restructure his contract.
They can't pay out J.J. Watt.
They don't have that much dead money on J.J. after next year. So
they can't pay him out,
they got to do something, man, because he's not staying healthy. And then all the rumors are starting to come to fruition. His mom wants him to go play with his brothers in Pittsburgh. I'd love to see J.J. Watt play in Pittsburgh with only maybe $8 million or less. We're not paying him 15 or 16.
Of course, you would like to see J.J. Watt in Pittsburgh
for a cheap price. I'm not saying that.
I'm just
but
saying.
We have Cam Hayward, and he's all decade, and he's cool.
Well, if he's only going to take $8 million, the Chiefs will take him next year, and I don't want the Great White Hope.
But that's just too much money, brother. I'm sorry.
I'm just listen.
I'm already right. I'm sorry.
So anyway, Brandon Cook's a Texan. I don't know very many people that are excited about it. I mean, it's got potential to work if he's healthy. Because he stays on the field more than Will Fuller. So you now have a deep threat. You have a legitimate deep threat that stays on the field more than Will Fuller. If he's a deep threat and we can finally treat him as a deep threat, his hands don't really matter because you don't expect to hit the home run every time you hit it. It's just taking advantage of the times that you do.
But here's my question. Yeah, you have a deep threat, but when it comes to a situation that's not a deep threat situation, if they're in the red zone and you need that guy that can catch in the middle, none of the three of those guys are worthy.
Well,
none of the three.
Yeah, well, in that case, that's why you have Deshaun Watson. He's gonna run for a lot of touchdowns.
Oh boy,
that's the only thing. I mean, fails you can try. He's like you said, he's 6'8", but the Chiefs stuff you did put on here, so of course I'm going to touch it. Sammy Watkins is back. Rashad Breeland is back. Both of them. Well, Sammy redid his deal to get Rashad Breeland on board because we had $177 up until Sammy redid his deal. So both of them taking team-friendly contracts. Rashad Breeland, I feel like he took a team-friendly contract because no one's going to pay him more than the $4.5 he got.
I agree with you.
That's a bet. Well, we got about 28 minutes left. Let's start in the verses. I don't want to do Brady and Montana first.
That's a big one.
Yeah, you can't do that first. Well, I guess you got to do it first. That way you make sure you get it done.
I was doing the way you were sending them. So how you were sending them is how I was doing. Okay.
We're going to spend some time on that. Which one are we not going to spend a lot of time on?
Choose two, because we got to cut them down. So choose two that you really want to talk on in the next one. The other one we'll save for next week.
Well, you want to talk about, what about, okay, you give me two. Give me your two.
I'm doing D-Hop versus Larry. Because the only reason I did it to Battle Arizona, and they stimulate each other. And then I'll do Peterson and Bailey.
Joe, what's your two?
We'll do the we'll do free we'll do Mack and Urlacher and let's do Hall and Tyreek Hill.
Okay, Hall and Hill and Urlacher, Matt. Well, let's start off with DeAndre Hopkins against Larry Fitzgerald in Houston, Justin.
Look, so this was a very, very tight one for me. You know, the only reason I thought about it because D-Hop said Larry Fitzgerald was one of his favorite players growing up. And I did some research on it. When D-Hop was drafted, they compared him to Larry Fitzgerald. It wasn't just two wide receivers with dreadlocks thing. But in their prime, I'm going with Larry Fitzgerald, and not just because I know the kid and he went to Pitt with me when I was a senior. He was a freshman and sophomore. But Larry Fitzgerald did so much with so many quarterbacks. Like, he only really had one Hall of Fame quarterback in Kurt Warner. His playing resurrected Carson Palmer, because, Carson was dead and he was dead in Cincinnati and even more dead in Oakland.
I mean, but everything dies in Cincinnati.
I'm going to go with bad in Cincinnati.
I said everything dies. I said everything dies there.
Oh, okay. I thought
in
you were saying he
football.
was good. I'm like,
No, I
no.
said everything dies.
But that's why, me personally, and they had similar stats, but I'm going to go with Larry F. on this one, because Larry F. was that guy. He still is that guy as far as Arizona's concerned until now D-Hop there. But just consistency for the longest term of time. I'm going to ride with his first, 8 years in the league compared to D-Hop. It's all Larry.
If Larry wanted to play long enough, he could catch Jerry, so of course it's Larry. What you got, Joe?
Yeah. I'm definitely going Fitzgerald over D-Hop. Hopkins may have.
Well, damn it, we all can't take Larry. Forget it. I'm going D-Hop.
Well,
I'm changing my mind.
Grain,
Yeah, I'm changing my mind. I'm going D-Hop. Because D-Hop is single-handedly made Deshaun Watson a Pro Bowler. I'm going D-Hop.
Yeah, but the problem is Deshaun Watson is actually pretty good.
That's right.
Remember, names.
But
Let's name some of the other quarterbacks.
Wait. He's pretty good because he's always had DeAndre Hopkins. We'll see how good he is this year.
Very true. But let's go outside of let's not count outside of counting Kurt Warner, which I would debate. Kurt Warner was dead in the water too. Remember, when Kurt Warner left St. Louis, he went to New York and he was done. That brought in Eli. He goes to Arizona where he was a backup at first, and then all of a sudden he starts. They make it to the Super Bowl basically because Larry and him were on fire. And they did have and Edgar and James too.
So you're saying your guy had a Hall of Fame quarterback, and my guy is trying to make one.
Yeah, for a Hall of Fame quarterback for 2 years.
No. I said trying to make one. That's what he was trying to do. Now he's going to take another baby, and he's going to try to turn him into a Pro Bowl quarterback.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Watch Kyler Murray with those two guys.
Yeah.
And Kenyon Drake. Bruh, I'm sorry. Arizona may make the playoffs next year. It may be Arizona versus Seattle versus all this Arizona versus the Seattle versus LA thing. It may be Arizona versus Seattle battling for the NFC West.
Remember, it's the extra playoff team, so literally the entire West could go to the playoffs.
Yep.
I agree. I'm just saying.
Literally.
You can D-Hop.
Bro, but can you imagine that?
Yeah.
All of a division going to the playoffs? From 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
And on the flip side, a whole division not going to the playoffs, meaning that the NFC East, because ain't none of them teams worth for damn. We have the whole NFC West and nobody on the NFC East. That's going to be hilarious.
You also wanted to go to Champ Bailey and Patrick Peterson. I'll save you for last as this is your subject. I'm going Champ. I don't think it's close.
Patrick, bro.
I don't think it's close. Champ was dominant. Patrick Peterson,
was dominant.
He was dominant.
Patrick Peterson has been balling. The only reason he's thought of is because he's been injured recently. But that man, keep in mind also, he did punt return and kick return also his first couple of years in Arizona. Patrick Peterson's a beast. And it's just sad because he's in Arizona. I mean, he's a shutdown corner, but it's just everybody else he was shut down. Everybody else will throw it to in Arizona. Hell, he can't do everything. He can't cover the whole field. But I'm going out and saying Patrick Peterson because that man was a stud. He's going to, I have in my opinion, if he can stay healthy in another couple of years, he has a Hall of Fame career.
You're saying if he stays healthy. Champ Bailey is a Hall of Famer.
Champ Bailey did stay healthy. We can't never put in injuries versus a Hall of Famer because that's the biggest factor with most Hall of Famers. With exception of maybe one, and that would be one of your topics, they stayed healthy.
Bro, Champ Bailey has a 10 interception season. Your boy does not.
He has a 10 interception season because they're testing him. My guy, they don't throw the ball that way. Deion never had a 10 interception season either. And Deion's the GOAT for our secondary team. So there ain't no one.
Yeah, because Deion scored touchdowns when he did get the ball thrown to him.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Make no mistake about it. When he picks you, he's 6
your way. if they don't throw your way, then what can you say? I mean,
saying.
we have another topic dealing with that one as well.
I'm going with the Hall of Famer. That's just me. Joe, you said Peterson too, right?
Yeah. I want Patrick Peterson.
See this?
Yeah,
This is perfect.
guys, is really just an unbelievable player.
I guess, I got amnesia on who Champ Bailey was. I think that's what's happening here. Like, really? I'm kind of confused as to what the hell y'all talking about. Really? Patrick Peterson's he's a good, solid corner.
He will be in the
Champ
Hall of Fame.
Bailey had to play against Randy Moss. Like, he played against Jerry Rice and Randy Moss. Like, I'm
against neither one of them consistency.
It doesn't matter. That's his era. Who's that guy right now that Peterson's shutting down? Who's that guy?
He shut down Julio. He shut down.
Wait.
He shut down AB. Yeah.
Julio with Matt Ryan.
Well, I mean, you can't.
Randy Moss with Tom. Okay. You go. Julio, and you said who was the other one? Antonio Brown.
He shut down AB.
I forgot who he was, man.
There's only one dude who ever shut down AB.
I don't remember that guy.
He shut down AB.
I don't remember. I don't remember that guy. I just know Champ had 10 interceptions in the season, 8 in another. Your guy's best year is 7.
But that also means they got to throw the ball to him.
The same thing applied. Champ was the number 1 corner everywhere he played. So I'm confused.
Yeah, but that league is, you're talking about the gunslinging years where they were going to force the ball.
Wait.
Brett Favre.
Hold on. The gunslinging years? Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions last year. These are the gunslinging years. These are the gunslinging years. All right. We got to move on.
Let's move on.
You got to move
on, buddy.
I'm not going to take this L. I'm going with Champ. Period. I'm going with the champ. Khalil Mack versus Brian Urlacher. Joe, who you got?
Oh, man. Give me Khalil Mack. Give me Khalil Mack. This guy came in. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, both players are Chicago Bears. They were Bears. But Khalil Mack came in the first year and just made an impact. Even when he was in Oakland, he was making an impact. But, John Gruden didn't want this guy anymore. He went to Chicago and just made that Bears defense amazing. Guy's a beast.
Go ahead, Justin. Y'all gonna make me the underdog again.
I'm going with Urlacher.
Oh, there we go.
Urlacher, outside of Ray Lewis, was one of the best linebackers in the 2000s. Outside of Ray and a couple others, but more distinctly, Urlacher for years. This is a dude that came from college who was a fullback and a safety to come to play linebacker in the league and dominate. Urlacher was scary against everybody. Don't get me wrong, Khalil Mack is scary, but Khalil Mack is really a defensive lineman. He can't cover shit. That's why they really have him in the offense where he's really his hands to the ground. Urlacher is an inside linebacker that had to cover and hit. And look how many years he led the league. It was always him and Ray leading the league in tackles. I respect Urlacher's game, bro. That's why I'm like, I'm definitely, when you seen this, I'm like, I'm going Brian Urlacher all day. Urlacher was stud.
So, I get you. I'm there with you. I want to say Urlacher too. But the impact that Khalil Mack has on the football game to me just feels different. Like I'm there with you with Urlacher. I was a fan of his game. But when you play Khalil Mack, it just feels different. Like the quarterback feels Khalil Mack on every single play. So for me, and I'm going Mack. I had to agree with Joe this time. I got Jay Swish. I think it just feels different. And when a player makes a game feel different, it literally changes the game for me.
Yeah, single-handedly.
Mm-hmm. I'm still gonna roll with the Urlacher, but okay. Yeah, I got me.
I think Joe just did this one because it's my team. I don't know if he was really serious. He's trying to make me feel good. Dante Hall, the original X Factor, the human joystick, versus the cheetah, Tyreek Hill. This is Joe, so go ahead, bro.
Oh man, so Dante Hall with the human joystick. I playing him on Madden. He likes. I would return him each score every time.
Here we go with Madden.
But you know what? Yeah, gotta go Madden. I gotta go back to Madden again. Go back to my comment. Madden 03, Madden 04. But you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Tyreek Hill on this one. I think Dante Hall had. I think like maybe 3 or 4 good years of him doing well on punt returns. I like Tyreek Hill. Like his speed. I like his upside. He's almost just as good as Dante Hall, in my opinion.
Justin?
Oh, no. If we're going special teams, strictly Dante Hall. Right. If we're going overall wide receiver.
Overall player, not just wide receiver, overall player.
If we're going overall player, then Tyreek Hill. Yeah. If we're going strictly special teams, then Dante Hall, because Dante Hall, outside of Devin Hester, was probably the most feared in the past, and Dion, of course, in the past 30 years when it came to special teams, kick return, punt returns. My man, like you said, he was the human joystick. He made moves and accelerated and did things that no one else did. The problem was he wasn't a great wide receiver. So he wasn't necessarily what I call the coldest. But then again, the greatest special teams player of all time, Devin Hester, for what the NFL said, he wasn't either. He actually was a corner and changed the wide receiver, and he sucked at both positions. He was the special teams. So if I'm going off of that, then I'm going special teams. I'm going to go Dante Hall because Tyreek Hill, although as a wide receiver was great, he wasn't as electric as Dante Hall on special teams. And maybe because he's not necessarily needing to, because he has to play wide receiver. Dante Hall was never asked to be the number one guy at wide receiver for the Chiefs.
Sir, I'm sorry, but you can't pick both players. Which player do you got?
I got Hill. I'm not stupid. I got Hill.
All right. So
I don't know what
this one's tough for me because, of course, the better wide receiver is Tyreek Hill. Clutch matters. Big moments matter. Tyreek Hill has never taken over a game for the Chiefs. He's had good games, but he hasn't taken over a game. He hasn't been that. Hold on. That was a lot of players. It wasn't just Hill. So listen, I watched Dante Hall bring the Chiefs back from the dead after they had just basically lose games with his dynamic returns in clutch moments. If I gotta win a game and it comes down to the end of the game, I'm gonna go with Dante Hall, but of course the better player. But I'm going Dante Hall.
I was actually surprised you said that, but okay, cool. This is the Chiefs guy, so he would know the expert.
I know who the better player is.
Exactly.
I'm talking about that moment where I need a miracle to win a game and the other team know it, but they still got to kick him the ball. Like, Dante Hall's back there and he's still going to burn you, bro. Like, yeah. You can double cover Tyreek Hill.
I got a question though. Why was he never asked to be like the number 1 or 2 guy as a receiver?
It was the Chiefs. It was a running team. They didn't. Come on, bro. Like
that's what I was wondering.
This passing attack stuff is new. We are the West Coast Smash Mouth football team. It's been like that. So That's why we always get our butts kicked against the Pittsburghs and stuff like that, because they were better at it than us. So this passing thing is an Andy Reid thing. It's new. Like I said, my history, my loyalty is going to stick with the human joystick, because I think Tyreek is aided by a hell of a quarterback. So, yeah. Moving on to, we got 10 minutes left. Let's do Todd Gurley, Terrell Davis.
Goody. All right. This is the battle of the former Georgia running back. I'm going to go with Terrell Davis, because Terrell Davis still, if it wasn't for the migraine, still would have had his NFL career where he could have probably had another 2,000-yard season. Migraines destroyed his career, made him retire too early. And I mean, hell, that's an injury that you can't fix that or anything. It's those migraines. But he also wanted to play like no matter what. Remember, everybody said this. The last Super Bowl run they had in Denver with PD and LA and all them, he started suffering those migraines, and he would still go in the game and run as much as he can, go out, sit out for a player, then go back in. You know, if anybody knows, even with a headache can take you out faster than anything in the world. So for him to go in and do these migraine things, look, Todd Gurley got paid and kind of was just like, well, I got paid, so I'm really not worried about it. And that's why I kind of hold it against him, like, Todd Gurley was good, but Terrell Davis was just that too. So I'm going with TD.
Swish.
I don't know why I feel like this might be one where we all say Terrell Davis, but so I'm just going to go disagreeing, and I'm going to say Todd Gurley. I'm going to say Todd Gurley because I know Reddy's probably going to say Terrell Davis, so I don't always agree. So I'm just going to go Todd Gurley. I think he's going to do well in Atlanta. You know, I'm looking at his numbers right now. Pretty impressive. You know, the rushing touchdowns and everything. I still think he has a couple good years left, and obviously he'll have a longer career, I think, than Terrell Davis as well.
I'm not a Terrell Davis fan. He played for the Broncos, of course. And Todd, let's be honest. Todd Gurley he's a good football player, and he scores a lot of touchdowns. And even last year where we're down on him, he still got 12 touchdowns and 800-something yards. Now, his yards per went down by more than a yard. But I think there's still tread on those tires. Unfortunately, I have to go with Terrell Davis, though. It's just because his 4-year run was just more dominant than what Gurley's is.
Here's my thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
His 4-year spurt is just more dominant all the way around. Like, of course, Gurley's gonna have more receptions because different eras, but Terrell Davis, his 4-year spurt was almost 6,000 yards. Gurley's 5,500, and he was playing with a Hall of Fame quarterback, and Gurley was playing with Jared Goff, and Terrell still got his numbers.
Y'all be knocking Jared Goff. What's wrong with y'all?
Because he's awesome.
Oh, yeah, he's a serviceable quarterback.
Yeah, he's awesome. I'll take Cam Newton any day. All right, what's the next one? So,
the
next one is the GOAT.
The
next one is the GOAT. Who is the GOAT? Joe Montana or Tom Brady? If you're starting a team, which quarterback you got?
No, you go first.
Oh, damn. Okay. All right, you know what? Based off this, I'm gonna ask you all a question. I just want to know the answer. Is it better to be in more Super Bowls than lose? So is it better to be perfect, be 4-0, or to go to how many Super Bowl Brady? I think he's been to 9 Super Bowls or 8 or something like that. Is it better to be perfect, or to have a lot of Super Bowl appearances?
So I'm gonna ask you a question real quick. Was it better to be 6-0 in the finals, or be 3-9, but you went 3-6, but you went 9 times?
Well, neither one of these guys got losing records, so
Yeah.
and neither one of these guys got
Yeah. I see where you're going, Justin. But
that's why I'm steering it away from that right now.
Above 500 records.
Yeah, I'm steering it right away from that right now.
You know what? I want give me. I want Joe Montana. I want Joe Montana.
Okay.
Damn you,
J-Dub.
All right. This is the reason I'm gonna say Joe Montana.
Oh God!
Is
Y'all
because
gonna make me
Joe
pick Tom Brady?
Yes.
Yeah. Y'all some assholes.
So here's the reason why I'm going Joe Montana. Is because he orchestrated the Bill Walsh system, and Bill Walsh gives him credit for orchestrating that system. We're still debating to this day with Tom Brady. Was it him? And it'll be decided this year finally. Was it him or was it the coach? Bill Walsh has said, and everybody in Bill Walsh's era and his lineage, including Andy Reid, who came from that Bill Walsh tree, all said that Joe Montana perfected the West Coast offense. And Bill Walsh even said, I'm successful because of Joe. I still to this day have never heard Bill Belichick say, my system has been perfected because of Tom Brady. He said Tom Brady helped me and we're a great tandem. He's never said that. So that's the only reason I'm going to go with Joe Montana, because this whole entire West Coast offense thing is because of Joe. It started with Joe, and then everybody started smelling the Kool-Aid, drinking the Kool-Aid, and now, the West Coast offense is basically spread offense now, and everybody's been doing it for now 20 years. That's why I'm going with Joe.
Okay, before I start, the following comments are not my actual views. This is my counterpoint argument. Please do not come for me at Casey Reginald Jr. Tom Brady, I'm sorry, did Bill Belichick throw 50 touchdowns, or was that Tom Brady?
Okay.
Did Bill Belichick throw for 4,806 yards, or was that Tom Brady? 5,235 yards, or was that Tom Brady? Did Bill Belichick go out there? Did he win? I'm sorry. Did Bill Belichick win a Super Bowl before there was a Tom Brady? Or did Tom Brady make Belichick a Super Bowl coach? These are the questions that we don't know the answer to. And what we do know the answer to is Tom Brady is the second greatest statistical quarterback of all time. He has more Super Bowl wins than any other quarterback in NFL history. He owns a perfect regular season record in one of these years, and I do stress regular season.
Thank you.
He did not finish the job, but Tom Brady has got to be the answer here, because y'all put me in this box, and
you sound so convincing, though.
But
I'm about to say you was going.
But
Johnny,
but Bill Belichick, he had Drew. What's his name? Drew Bledsoe. He had Drew Bledsoe before Brady, and he wasn't all that good. He was in Cleveland and got fired. TB12 made Belichick a Super Bowl winner. That and cheating. So, are you saying is cheating more effective than Tom Brady? Because to me, Belichick wasn't a Super Bowl coach until there was a Tom Brady, and we don't know what Tom Brady was before there was a Belichick because they drafted him. So, to me, they got a diamond in the rough. What we've been selling for the last 10 years, that this 4th, 5th round pick is a diamond in the rough and going down as the greatest quarterback. Now, all of a sudden, there's a question as to whether Belichick made him or not. Montana was great. Montana was great. I love Montana. He took the Chiefs to an AFC Championship game. I love him. But I'm going with touchdown Tom because y'all made me. But yes, even when
we made you.
No, it is because I won't Joe Montana, but y'all made me. But I'm not gonna give you a stale argument on touchdown Tom because he has a great case. Like those are facts. What do you want me to do? minimize what he's done? Those is facts.
I agree. So here's the other factor why I picked Tom Brady. Because as soon as Joel said he was going, I picked Joe Montana. So as soon as Joel said pick Joe Montana, because I thought Joe was going to pick Tom, I had to go there just to put Reggie in a position so he can't pick the former Chiefs. So that's why I did that.
And whether you,
like, nah.
And I was not prepared, but it's Tom Brady. It's not hard to just look at his numbers, look at his status. He's, those numbers aren't fake. And Belichick was average at best before Tom Brady. That's all I'm saying.
He may not have a Super Bowl as a head coach, but he does have a Super Bowl ring as an offensive coordinator.
Oh, great. Congratulations. But as a head coach, he didn't. As a head coach, he got fired.
Yeah, that's true.
By the Browns.
Well,
you got to do work to get fired by the Browns because they suck. If you're that good, can you imagine if he had stayed in Cleveland?
No.
Exactly.
He probably committed suicide.
Exactly. Anyway, I played the music a little early. Anyway, that is our show for the evening. I am KC Reginald Jr.
It's your man, J-Dub, Justin Waters in the building.
This is Jay Swish, Joel Swisher in the house.
This has been UnderDawg Sportz.